Hi, I'm Matthew Benson, and I'm here to talk about why everybody hates their divorce lawyer. There are a couple of reasons people are commonly frustrated with divorce lawyers. Reason one is failure to communicate, and that failure to communicate happens in both directions. The client fails frequently to communicate to the lawyer what it is they want, or on what terms they want it to happen, or at what speed they want it to happen. And on the other side of things, the lawyer frequently fails to communicate to the client what they're doing or why they're doing it. Part of the reason I started recording these videos is to give my clients some background so that they can understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and that sort of thing. Because frequently when you go to court or when you're meeting with an attorney, you don't think to ask those questions until later. So there needs to be a line of communication. I'm in the habit of giving my clients my email address so they can email questions to me and I can send responses to them that way. That way we can get follow-ups on anything that's going on and they can get an understanding as to what's going on, why it's happening, and what they should expect in the future. So that's the number one reason people get frustrated with their lawyers and divorces is failure to communicate. Reason two, unrealistic expectations. People have this perception that they want a bulldog of an attorney who's going to fight for every scarred little burned up inch of ground and not give up anything for any reason. And to be honest with you, you may think you want that because you're angry at your spouse, but that's not really what you want. In the overwhelming majority of cases, compromise is what makes the wheels turn. Compromise is what makes the legal system work. And you want an attorney who knows the judge, knows opposing counsel, and knows how to work with them, and knows how to arrange some kind of an agreement that's going to be best for both sides. Because what attorneys who present themselves as bulldogs don't tell you is that when you take a case to trial, the only thing that's really certain to happen is in the end, nobody's going to be happy. Because a judge doesn't know as much about your situation as you do, doesn't probably know as much about your situation as your spouse does, and because they don't know that, they tend to have a very rough set of tools for settling disputes. So it's in your interest to come up with some kind of common ground, develop some kind of a compromise, and work out some kind of an arrangement. So what I'm telling you is you may think you want a bulldog attorney. What you really want is an attorney who's going to represent your interests, tell you what the law says, tell you what you can get in a contested hearing realistically, and work with you. Finally, and this is probably a bigger thing that I'm giving it credit for here, divorce is a difficult period of people's lives in which they're going through an emotional transition. And to be honest with you, there's probably going to be a couple of days out of your divorce when you're not thinking right, when you make rash, irrational decisions. Now, those decisions can manifest themselves in a variety of different ways, but all too commonly, you wind up blaming your lawyer for a situation that you're frustrated in. And that does him a disservice, and it does you a disservice, because it starts to sort of fracture a professional relationship that you need in order to have your interests represented properly. And because of that, there's an emotional component to divorces that sometimes makes them very difficult. So, what I'd encourage you to do is before you flare up and start saying something like, my attorney's not doing anything for me, think about where you're at right now. Think about how you're handling things right then. Everybody goes a little bit crazy when they're getting divorced for at least a couple of days, sometimes longer than that, but at least a couple of days. So consider that you're in kind of a compromised position, you're going through a life transition, you're going through an emotional transition, and bear that in mind before you start blaming your lawyer for your problems. Anyway, those are 3 reasons people hate their divorce lawyers. I'm Matthew Benson. I hope this helps you develop some amount of perspective for the situation. Thank you for watching.